Okay. Yeah, let's see how this goes. So, making the text size big. So we have a bunch of tests that need to be passed. These are tests that are inherited from the original Electron Fiddle project. This is my fork of Electron Fiddle for React Native, which instead of allowing you to make Electron fiddles, it allows you to make React Native macOS fiddles. But I just something going on with my YouTube Studio. Just making sure this is still working. One moment. Right, copy link. Share. Stream in here. Right, surely that's working by now. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know why it's not running the whole test suite. There's way more than this. It seems to have gone into just the main tests, the main process tests. What's going on? It's as if it's like cached the test results. Help me. Watch. There's skipped tests, but I'm trying to see like why it's only running a few tests. It's not obvious why. All right, fine. Run that again. Because the full test suite should take about 40 seconds to run. This is more like it. No. All right. Okay. So a failing run takes a heck of a lot longer than a passing run. And because before I started the stream, I got a bunch of the tests passing again. They were snapshot-based tests. I avoided a bunch of 5-second timeouts, and that must be why it's dropped down from 40 seconds to just 10 seconds to run the test suite. So yeah, I felt I now understand what's going on. Okay, so we have got 5 files to visit and 12 tests to fix. I hope I don't have to just do the boring thing of skipping all these tests. But let's find out what we're dealing with and see if there's any, just doing case by case. So Electron enable logging. That looks to me like a Devtron issue, but we'll see how it goes. Right, starting from nothing. Let's visit this file. And we were interested in a test which had this word in it. Can set Electron enable logging. And that's probably this one. Okay. So what is the issue here? Electron enable logging. Maybe if I have this up side by side, I'll do that. Panel position, right. Okay. Right, now I can see what's going on. So there's just a million tests to fix, and I've lost my place now. What's easiest often is starting at because the readout will always scroll to the bottom, it's just to start from the bottom and move upwards. So it's this test right here, can set electron enable logging in env. Why might this be failing? It's saying the pass nor argument must be of type string, but it got undefined, which is very curious. And that's happening inside main fiddle core. Okay, so that's saying this argument that's being passed into path.resolve was expected to be of type of string, but was in fact undefined. Now, template dir containing real node modules, this is something. This whole file, fiddle core, is something I did a lot of refactoring in. So it makes sense that a lot of these tests broke. In fact, what might be going on is, yeah, for starters, this didn't exist in the original code that I'm forking, the original, what did they call it? Yeah, the original Electron Fiddle code. So this whole function never existed in the first place. So it's curious that we're calling into that at all. So I'm curious, if we just isolate this one test and we change debugger to a JavaScript debugger, we can maybe yarn test, just that particular test. We can step into this, whoops, try to catch it in time. There we go. And see exactly what's going wrong and where. So let's steppy. And what it's going to do is it's going to call start fiddle, which lives over here. And eventually it's going to call into that function that held this variable that we saw a moment ago. It's going to come into here and it's going to find that this first param is undefined. And I think I had an idea why that's going wrong. It's because get current template dir, again, a thing that I added to the code base, never existed before, and so this is probably not getting mocked properly. So we'll see if that is as we expected. Quite honestly, I'm very tempted just to skip the tests for Fiddle Core because I've changed it so much. There's, it's supposed to be protecting against regressions, but this is my I've completely very greatly changed the way the whole thing works, and I don't really value regression tests in this case. But while we're here, might as well learn what's going on and see if it's an easy fix. If it involves mocking stuff, we shall see. All right, so I play through. It's going to go into start fiddle, and we'll have a bunch of params, some undefined maybe. We've got local path undefined. And what we're going to do is we're going to get down to, let's get current template dir. And this quick start template is almost certainly going to be an empty object. And the current template is template. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's going to return undefined. Okay. And so there is your problem. It ideally, okay, if we could just give it a template dir as part of the mocking, this stuff would pass. But that sounds really not something I care about doing. Although that is interesting. If their mock function gets quite close. How easy would it be to set this thing up with a mock template? Actually looks a little complicated. How does this record even work? Branch, string to string. Okay. What we could do is something cheeky like grab the, I don't even, that's part of the problem. I don't even export this. I would have to emit an event. I really just want to skip this test, to be honest. Let's just do that, shall we? Right. Yeah, the whole test suite is just for start fiddle, so not much we can keep, but let's skip. Have been changed significantly. Stream version. Pretty cool how it keeps on counting despite me sitting on a breakpoint. All right, let us just stop right there. Okay. So forgetting about the fiddle core tests, we can do a yarn test again and see where we're at. Let's really do just the main thread test. This is longer than I want to wait this time. All right, we had 10 failed, I think. We're now on 9 failed. So moving on to the next test. We shall go into main content spec. Why is this one failing? Provide fallback content if downloads fail. So we shall only on this one. Got a lot of breakpoints here. Let's clear most of these. Delete or remove all. Yes, well, that's still valid for our Electron. So Electron has a bunch of releases. React Native is still not even on version 1 yet. So there's a few things that relate to the way releases are managed between Electron and React Native, where since I've moved this thing to managing Electron pre-builds to managing React Native macOS pre-builds, yeah, some of those tests break due to the nature of that move. But okay, what is going wrong here? It's expecting app.when ready, but instead it's getting empty. Now, what does the template look like? What would be... a lot of it. So my template doesn't make so much use of the index.js. It focuses a bit more on some other files, but let's see if this is relevant here. So we should do a yarn test on content spec. What do the values look like? Okay, so part of the problem here is the mock files that are being passed in this mock template are all corresponding to what Electron Fiddle uses, not React Native Fiddle. So we need to address those probably for it to make sense. Now, where did we come into here from? Let's go up to the call stack. Get template would do it. Quick start. Versus, okay, right. Let us repeat this. So kill that. When we come into this get template, we are getting into which branch exactly? Let's just evaluate this. Get expression. Okay, this is some source mapping issue. Let's just try to go into the debug console. Is released. Hang on. All right, we can see major. Is released major is getting imported from versions, so it's probably version. Nope. How do I evaluate this? Is released major. It'll be in one of these, but that's... There we are. Okay, cool. I have found it. There we go. We can do a Vite SSI import 7 dot is released major of major, and that's going to evaluate to undefined. I thought that'd be true or false. Where's my code gone? Okay, that works. Where's my terminal gone? Right. So is released major should return a Boolean. So how come it returned undefined there? Is this thing a function? I don't know how to call it. All right, let's just step over this and try to guess which. Oh, right. It's clear we're going into a negative branch. I didn't. Stepping is not always that generous. Okay, cool. Aha! Right, this is a directory I have never touched, so I learned something here. So we'll go into the static directory, Electron Quick Start. Cool, cool, cool. Let us reveal and find it. React Native Fiddle Quick Start. In our case, we shall rename this. Okay, and then we shall change the template. We need a new window. New window, and we shall open. Let's take it. Whoops. Let's take a new tab. Whoops. Into Iron Inputs. Is this the name? This is not the one. We want repro. Okie. So we shall open this in VS Code. Oh, there it was all along. Okay. So we just take each of these files. Oh, window management. So get rid of all of those. We need everything except the package JSON. Hopefully that will help. Okay. So now when it looks for index.js, what's it going to get? Empty. But how does this all work? Yes. So if you get template for the given version, if it's released major, you get the quick start template. But in our case, it reads it from the static template dir, which was this, which we patched just in time for the read. How does read work? We'll just step through this. All right, let's do all that again. So step through again. Play through files. What do we have? DS store. Do we get rid of that? Well, whatever. Names. Yes, very cool. Values. Oops. Sample React Native app sounds correct. App registry sounds correct. So these are not mock values. These are the real deal, as far as I can see. Okay. Stepping over. Name. App.js value. Yep, that's all correct. If the status is fulfilled, populate got. Okay. all seems fine. How does that work? Yes. That looks relevant. Let's go back and do that again. So I find that quite hard to read, but whatever is currently at main entry point, list.js, take that as it is, or otherwise assign it to get empty content, which would be, oh, cool. And what are we ending up with? So currently values main entry point is looking like the real deal. And then after we run this line, we end up with, it's still the real deal. Okay, so it clearly wasn't empty content. All right. Now, what are they expecting? Why would they expect that to be apt when ready? Where was that empty content thing? That would imply that the index.js file's only content is just for text app store when ready, which doesn't make any sense to me. What was originally in here? Originally, I didn't even have an index.js. I just had a main.js. But I have probably renamed my main underline JS to a different file name. So app.on when ready? I got no idea about that one. All right, I shall go search for that throughout the entire app. No. Right. Have they got something which replaces the contents of their file the moment the relevant app event listener gets called or something? Like, is this how they mock stuff? It might add up. Guess I have to look around this file and try to understand why it got renamed, or why the content got overwritten. If I search for app dot and then with a sort of template string after it, do I learn anything? Content spec, that's the file I'm in right now. That is very strange. Almost feel like skipping. What I mean by that is giving up on this test. That doesn't make any sense to me, how the logic of this test works. Read a fiddle. We don't overwrite anything they have some relevant listener? No, seems not. I guess the last thing I can look into is, hang on. Okay. Right. Give up on this one for now. There's a question. Do any of them actually end up as... Well, keep going. Right. Do any of these end up at app.whenready? Not a single one. That is quite telling. Even if I searched on main.js to see like who does stuff with it, there's 70 results. But if I'm only looking inside test, I stand a chance. So I don't need to be looking inside the specs. I need to be looking inside utility methods or something, or like mocking callbacks. That's very good. Okay, fine, play through it. Now, if I really wanted to get to the bottom of this, I'd go back to the main branch and try to figure out why that thing ever does get renamed to app.thingy. content spec. Right. So for the greater good, I'm just going to skip these tests and hope that my forking of Electron Fiddle hasn't gone and actually broken that. Just feeling like hopefully the logic to rewrite the file to app.whenReady is somewhere inside this file, but I'm really not seeing. Okay, but hopefully we can get some of these fails down anyway. On test. Oh, in fact, no, yarn test just for main folder. Test/main. Test/main. Yeah. This is really good. We've only got 3 failed tests left to address, and we can get into the fun stuff. This is an easy one. When renaming the repo from Fiddle Electron to React Native Fiddle, a few of these changed. So let's jump into content spec. We're already there. So it's expecting that. We just need to change that to Shirokaba React Native Fiddle repo. And then the archive test template is the same. All right, we'll get 1 fewer failing test. 2 more to go. String matching React Native Fiddle started, and that is going to be in which command line spec? Instead, we are looking for Electron Fiddle. Oh. That's something I want to change in my source. Who gets to call it Electron Fiddle? Node. Is it because the package.json file? Yeah, it's Electron Fiddle. That's not great because the lock is based on probably that. So I don't think I can just trivially rename Electron Fiddle without having to deal with potential merge conflicts every time upstream reinstall something. It might not actually merge conflict, but But what is this thing calling anyway? So this is... I feel like that's one of the console logs I came up with. I don't know. So we've established the Electron Fiddle started is probably more like a template string that takes the name of the process. Yeah, e.name started, for example. Yeah, and then argv. Okay, so whatever is producing this console log. So it's really, if we search for .name, there we go, package.json.name. I think I'm going to be cheeky here, and I'm just going to change this to React Native Fiddle started because my package.json name does not reflect the name of the app anymore. We do have these versions. Yeah, I think I do feel... I'm in two minds about this, but I just feel like changing a package.json name is a little destructive, potentially, for further maintenance in future. And we're not exactly publishing this to npm. Do they do that? Let us check. npm.js. Do they ever publish Electron Fiddle? No, they don't, because it says private true. Or yes, they actually do. But the last version was 0.27, 4 years ago. Okay, so they used to publish it. So it used to be a genuine npm package. But not anymore. Well, that's cute. That's an old version of macOS. Right, well, okay. I think then this will get us down to one failed, although there's a few other string matches. So let's do this test again. Don't tell me, what? Passed all the tests. Nice. Nice. Okay, so let's try running the whole test suite. Okay, so there's some tests that are in neither the main folder nor the renderer folder, but there's things like themes and utilities. Okay, fine. 2 more files, 2 more tests. Come on. Of course they're UI tests. This will take a bit more brain power, but fix all main. Right. Get main tests to bus. Okay, fix all main tests. Oh no, get hook is failing. Why is it only starting to... Oh, right. Because I changed the quick start template, it is now subject to being linted. That is a pain. Is this ESLint or what? No unused vars. I mean, I guess the thing is, this is genuinely supposed to be a copy of the exact starter template, so I don't actually want to change anything here. Could I do... I could do an ESLint ignore. .ESLint, I see, and then we got a .ESLint ignore around. No, we do not. We got ignores. No. You're supposed to be ignoring static. So why did it get linted on the pre-commit hook? This is worrying. Because that surely won't be the only linting thing that it's going to complain about. Yeah, we might complain about that. I really don't want this extra maintenance. One thing we can do is debug the ESLint and see. Okay, right. Lint, how do you lint style? On the actual pre-commit hook, which linting task runs? They are serious about linting. Right, lint staged. So on lint stage, our JS file is getting picked up. Which one was it? Which one? I lost it. It was metro.config.js. So it's going to be this run lint.js. I think I need to give it a path. But it does say it's like doing all of them. Right, metro.config inside my here. Copy that. And it is ignored. It's ignored in the IDE. Do I dash this? Yeah, it's ignored. So why is it not being ignored when we are running the pre-commit hook? Just try again. Template. Lint template. I see. So how do they discern lint templates from... what is standard? That'll be the issue. We need to ignore files inside standard, whatever that thing is. Right, off to npm.js, standard. Never heard of this. What you might do if you're clever, yes, I'll go straight here. Lots of people use standard, apparently. We've got Versal, Node, npm, a few OpenJS Foundation projects. So, right, well, the quickest path to victory might be to just actually address the linting error. But out of curiosity, is there like a standard ignore? Maybe I will just fix this. You don't need that, you don't need that. So this could actually be just, hang on. Because we're not using that. Because we're defining our own. Not using the serializer. Because we're defining our own. So we don't actually need any of this at all. And that's all because of some more recent changes. Whoops, no, please don't. Let's save without formatting. Templates. I kind of want to back out the change of the template because I'm not really, I don't even know if I'm using the quick start template. Right, so we could just unstage that change. It'd be nice to stash just these ones. Stash templates. Okay. All right. So now we close that window. Now we should be able to commit at least this much without the hook getting in the way. We can push that. And then we shall run the tests again and see if any of the tests from, whoops, test main, whether that, oh, interesting. So we didn't have to change the template directory at all, thanks to whatever test we're skipping. It was never needed in the first place. So that is quite happy. Reducing diffs from upstream is always appreciated. So now we need to test stuff in general. What is remaining? We've got those 2 failed tests, same ones before. See if there's any template tests failing. Right. That's the welcome tool. Yes, I did change some things in here. I renamed a few things. So 69. Electron step, get buttons. First time. I did rename this, probably. First time electron is now first time. Oh no, it's got that. Okay. So it's saying .get buttons is not a function. Ah, yeah. This is because they had a whole extra bit where you could learn the basics of electron, but that really increased the scope of the tutorial. So I decided I'm not going to teach you the basics of React Native in here. So with the Electron Fiddle tutorial, they had to talk about the main process, the renderer, and the preload script and all of that, and point you at each of the 4 files in the Fiddle. But in my Fiddle, we only have one central file, the app.js or JSX. So we can probably skip this test because there is no get buttons usage anywhere. Skip. I've removed the basics of okay. Right. Which should hopefully leave the other test. Where is it? Where is it? This is hard. Last one. Let's test just this file. Yarn test just that file. Line 109. What are we dealing with? Ah, yeah, yeah. Okay. These got renamed. So if I search for app.js inside my source folder, or if I search for entry point, I remember I used that word. Come on. That's relevant. That'll take me close. Root UI component. Yeah, we're very close. That's used in here. This should be it. Okay, let's get all the answers. What's that? What's that? We'll have this side by side. So instead of saying main process main.js, we will now be saying index.js for one thing. It's going to be entry points. We have the root UI component, which is actually app.js. Then we have, although it's capable of handling these files, what the template actually contains is metro.config.js. But we'll see. I think the test will inform us which of these actually exist in practice. Received value. Okay, so which one did it fail on? If I just reduced it to these first two, does it do any better? If I just reduced it to this one alone, does it do better? Yeah, okay, because our mosaic view only has the app.js file visible and full screened. So that is why it's behaving like that. So that should be all the tests. Passing, let's clear that. All the tests, please, passing. Or skipping. Very good. That's really, really good. So at the start of today, there were hundreds failing, mostly on the renderer side. And so before the stream, I did a bunch of those. But that's really great. That means on the stream we can do something a bit more interesting, which is notarization of the app for the first time. Right. This is fix the RTL tests. Is there a space at the end of that? I think I left a space to trim it. Yes. Okay, and I think I'm going to treat myself to a cheeky rebase. Catch up with main, and I'll just do another pull in case they edited anything in the last couple of days. Another yarn install. Yarn install. And why not follow that with a yarn test to see if the dependable updates change anything? Very good. Okay, cool. So our tests are passing. Now the next question is, how the heck do we deploy this thing? In release mode, with code signing and notarization. So package will be relevant. Make will be relevant. I always forget which one is which one I want. I've done this very often, but I always flip a coin. So, OSX sign. Yes, my developer ID application is not called that. Right, I need to check what my thing is called. Let's see the name of my certificate. There we go. My certificate, developer ID certificate. sorry, developer ID application certificate. This is also installer. That is hot off the presses. The country of origin, definitely not the US. It just kindly went and filled that in of its own accord. That's incorrect. But for the purposes of code signing, it shall do. So we're going to rename this, and I've already filled in that bit. So, oh! Okay, so I guess I've got my team versus my personal ID. Okay. What does upstream look like? Fiddle. So they have a forge config over here, and UI52. Okay. Right, whatever. So we may be, if I can figure out the right command, and if it can find the certificates that I've set up, now that team ID, yes, sweet, that is consistent. So I set up a few of these things before the stream, so I passed in my, what were these things? This is actually, though it says Apple ID, it might be my email address, and then the Apple ID password. That's not the password to my developer account. That is actually a app-specific password that was generated through the, I want to say App Store Connect, but it's actually accounts.apple.com or something. Okay, so how do you notarize? Notarize gets called if you ask for platform Darwin and you enable forced notarization. Okay, well, let's do this with the debugger on. So we're going to do a forced notarization equals 1. I need to make sure these are provided on the command line, so I'm going to do some stuff off screen in a moment. So these are secrets. Okay. Panel position, bottom. Env file. So I need to fill in Apple ID and Apple ID password. So I have my strong box around. Okay. Nearly filled them all in. macros cert underline password equals. Okay, so I've now filled in the .env file. I need to be very careful not to open that up on stream. What we're going to do is we're going to run one of these commands. It's either going to be package or make. Let's remind ourselves, electron forge package versus make. Right, so when you run a package, it also, oh God. Running each of these steps will also run the previous ones in the sequence. So running publish will first run package and make as prerequisite steps. Okay, so if I do a make, it's also going to run package. So make is superior to say superset of package, but what is each of those things? So it will give us the .app, okay. And package is the one that handles code signing and notarization, whereas make, cool, I can have a DMG. Neato. Now, the question I have then is, what actually do the Electron Fiddle team do? Do they distribute DMGs or do they distribute .apps? Or is it going to be a .zip so we can't even tell? RPM for Linux and then Darwin. Where's Darwin? There's your Darwin. So that is a .zip. Let's just download that. Have a look inside. I'll go parity. Actually need water. Okay, kettle is now boiling. So we have the Electron Fiddle distributable. They distribute just the app. Okay, no installer. It makes me wonder what an installer would even be for. Like, why would you even want a DMG? Maybe just the DMG has that cute little drag it to applications thingy, which people always get like viral, low effort tweets for talking about, but I really don't. I've got no beef with it. It is what it is. Okay, so package, we don't really care about the DMG because they don't. And there's publish, which would distribute to GitHub releases. Ooh, that'd be nice. Is it just that they're using the zip packager instead of the DMG packager? I think that might explain. Yeah, they're using make a zip. Any DMG in there? No. Okay. Right. So there is a make step, and there's also a publish step. So well, how brave are we feeling? Do we want to do a? Do we want to go straight to publish? Maybe let's go as far as make first, and things should fail. Let's do it without debug, so we get speedy. We're going to do a yarn. Oh, what did I need? Hang on. Force notarization one. It's going to be a yarn package. Is that how we do it? Yeah, Electron Forge package, and it will auto detect what we want. Will it default to Darwin or will it default to App Store? That is a question. Let's see what the CI does. CI.yaml. No. Release.yaml or build.yaml. Let's build.yaml. Package. Do we see a package in here somewhere? They run make. Okay. With no particular env, it just auto detects. Okay. Whereas release would run, oops, they do a publish, yeah? Yarn run What kind of yarn runs do we have? Publish with architecture coming from the matrix. That's the point. We don't want to do universal. We want to do our host architecture. Actually, no. Well, because I'm not even providing an Intel. It's interesting. That's an interesting conundrum. But let's just do what the CI does. So they do single arc. So we will run the one thing that's below publish. That was my diagram. Get rid of standard. Build lifecycle. We'll run make. So yarn run make. And then we'll do arch equals arm64. And then it's gonna we don't need a dry run. But you can publish. I wonder what a dry run publish even means, but whatever. Let's see how well this goes. Get my tea. You'll get to see the errors first. Okay. Okie dokie, how's it going? We are still building packaging for the thing we are. So we're not doing a universal build. We are doing ARM64, which seems to be the way they do it. Although it does make sense to me because on the other side, like if I bring that thing back into existence, if you look at that, that was, oh, really? I thought when I saw 280 megabytes, it's like, oh, that's universal. Like half of it is ARM64 and half of it is X x86 64. Just call it x86. But no, single slice comes out as 280. Right, send that back to the shadow realm. How is this going? We survived something. All right, finalizing. Again, this is the first release build I've actually ever done, so we're doing remarkably well to even get this far. I should jump on Twitter while waiting. Jeez. And this is a hefty boy. This is taking a fair bit of time. My other Electron apps don't take quite this long. What on earth? So this just popped up in my Twitter. What on earth is Manifest Android Interview? Okay. Come on, this taking forever. I'm glad I didn't do this with the debugger attached. It's gonna be even slower. Let's read some more news. Okay. Just checking Hacker News, seeing if there's anything worth just literally waiting this thing out on. That sounds fun. You can see why optical mice are so trusty. Like, the fact that you can actually get a camera out of that is pretty incredible. Like, no wonder it can handle this kind of movement. Obviously, this is if you want a 30 by 30 with 64 shades. But I suppose if you really just want to just have I move from this point to the next point, it'd be much higher refresh rate. That's pretty neat. Dang. I wish I could see some debug for this. Like some verbose logging. What does that step even mean? How long do their builds normally take on CI? So I was checking this release flow out, and they've not. It's a relatively recent flow they created back in October, and they've not got it working end to end yet. So I'm not quite clear which one of these would be best to look at. Maybe CI, and then jump into a respectively long one and see what on earth it's doing. So it's testing and it's running a build. So their build, the whole matrix takes 9 minutes, with the bottleneck being on. Why does it say macOS but also Windows? I'm not quite clear there. macOS Intel, yeah. Oh, come on. We were so close. What? Should be notarizing, but Apple ID or Apple password are missing. Oh, right. That is so lame. That is so lame. I wrote it into my env file, but that was after the terminal had started up. That's right. We're just gonna have to dive back in here in just a moment. So I'm just gonna source that. Oh, we had a parsing error. Okay, I'll sort that out off screen with the secrets off screen. Okay, yeah, I've not put quotes around any of these. That probably won't be helping. Okay, hopefully I have sorted out the emphas. Sweet. Okay, so, but I can see what we got out of that. So reveal and finder, React Native Fiddle, Darwin ARM64. So that's a result of our package step. And then this is the make step, just makes a zip around it. So there's not much to it. And there's not much point running this because it's not notarized. But while we're waiting on this, while I'm talking my head off over here, let's just get another one running. Hopefully it doesn't delete this too soon. If I'm fast, this, yeah, sweet. This runs and opens, I'll figure it out. All right, close that. So I don't want to keep that open in case it holds a file lock when this thing is trying to replace it with a new one. So it should replace it with a new one in about another 10 minutes of getting back. See how it goes. So next thing is this. It's a little silly to be using their logo, but I don't really have tools for creating a logo. What can I do? What I used to do is I used to go to FX emoji, Firefox emoji. Now these are just emoji, but they are, you're allowed to use them if you show the license. Yep, adapt it. Okay, let's get working on some kind of logo. It's the most F-shaped. Okay. That's not very exciting, regional indicator F. I suppose a violin is as good as a fiddle. I could just layer an electron. But this isn't. Yeah, this would be the electron of the React Native sense. Okay, so let's. Can I have that violin? So this would be PNG would do me, to be honest. Objects. Nope. Let's have dist. Shall I just search that? Go to file. We have the whole SVG. Do we have PNGs? Okay, fine. Download that. Then download an atom. Electron. Let's see. Normally, so the thing is, the emoji picker is often so slow on Mac, or so I do predictive typing instead. But okay, fine. Atom. You're telling me they don't have this? They never implemented the atom? Or is it just not loaded into page yet? If I search that on Google, it will probably give me the Unicode for it. Atom symbol. Unicode 269B. Do you have that? No, you don't. That is going to be, yeah, that's inconvenient for us. Okay, this is still going, but we can be working on this. So if I take Clip Studio Paint, which can't actually handle SVGs, actually. I think I need to use, actually, can it handle SVGs? We shall find out. So I need a file of a particular size. So assets, icons. I need to recreate something like this. Ooh. The SVG one's got like straight edged colors, and then the PNG treats itself to proper shading. So with their one, okay, they've gone and deleted the last one under my feet. So I don't know if we're aiming for, I imagine we're aiming for a PNG style one. But, okay, what size is this PNG? Reveal and find out. 1024? 1024? Or is it 400 by 400? 1024 by 1024. Okay, cool. We shall create a new document. 1024, yeah, great. And we shall call it React Native Fiddle icon. Okay. Can it import SVGs? That is not a great result. That is not great at all. Okay, right. Clearly their PNG renderer needs some work, so I'm going to switch to another browser, Firefox. And use Photopea, because I've still not got around to, is it .com? Yeah. Yes, please. New project. I used to have a lifetime license for a particular version of Photoshop, but then they started doing Creative Cloud, and that was just far too expensive for how frequently I was using it. So React Native Fiddle. Actually, we're going to call it logo. Right. Could we have a transparent, please? No? Yes. Transparent. Whatever. Okay. Does it like this? No, I don't think it's auto. Import image. File. Open in place. Berlin. Yes! Okay. That's going to be the basis of our logo. How is this going? It's still doing the package. So if we take this as a reference, show in Finder, drag the fiddle icon into here. We need to make it about that big. Can I please have transform tools? What do you press in this? It's not Apple T, it's edit free transform. Okay. Not that. No. Okay. You to the top. And you are gonna be transform, make you big. Oh, proportionally big. 684. Okay. What's that as a percent? What is the closest? If I do 150, that'll be nice. Yeah, that's kind on the pixels. Nice rounding, so it should look decent. Of course, SVG can cope with it anyway. And so I need to somehow shove the React Native logo in there. React Native. If I right click on this, does it give me artwork? Nope. Ugh, do I have to? That'll do. this is a SVG. Oh, it's moved on to the next step. Okay, save. Save React Native logo. React Native logo. Save. Yes, I've already got one. Okay. Bring the logo in. It's so small. Come on. Right. Make it like, what is this? A React Native logo for ants? Although, maybe that's exactly what we want. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Ooh. But that's so small. It's going to be far too small for our users to see. So it needs to be big, 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 big. 300%. Let's see what we can do with 300. Okay. Duh. Yeah, why not? This is such a lame icon. This is going to look so weird as an app icon. But first off, how has our app gone? Environment variables are missing. No, they are not. Because I sourced env. All right, hold on, I need to do something off screen. Echo. Yeah, they're in my shell context. But environment variables are missing. So if you don't have this or that, and yet, so it really just isn't sourcing from my .env file, even when, and it's not inheriting from the current shell either. All right, I'm going to just have to run the same command. Again, off screen, sorry. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running this command, but in the debug terminal. I'm going to set a breakpoint here, and I'm going to check my process.env and see what env vars are actually making it in. But that is, I've got secrets in here, so it's going to have to be off screen, I'm afraid. Right. Force notarization. Are we getting that? Yeah, force notarization is coming through. Okay, let's kill that. I'm going to change all the things in my .env file to have like export in front of them and see if that helps at all. Right now it's just it's a list of key value pairs. What might be what's causing it all to mess up? Debug console. No, adding export didn't help. So it's like my .env file isn't being sourced at all. Guess you don't get that for free? That is curious. Right, node read env file. What are the modern ways to do this? So there's support for the env files. Okay. Package.json. How does this normally work? So Electron Forge runs package. So to actually, it's going to be a little hard to like pass the env file flag all the way through to node. I mean, obviously you can turn that into a node modules /bin / Electron Forge package, and then something like env file equals .env, maybe something like that. It just feels like the ugliest way possible to write it, so not 100% sure about it. But for my curiosity, we shall see if that actually works. Again, off screen. That didn't work. That's unexpected. I thought I had a high chance of succeeding. Okay. I mean, the .env file is right next to the Forge config, so it's a mystery why it's not being sourced. But fine. I shouldn't have to do this at all. But if we do a process.loadEnv file, and of course there's race condition. Ideally, we should source it as soon as possible. But all right, fine. Let's do that. So env.js or .ts, why not? Treat ourselves to TS. And all this is going to do is going to do processed load env file, and we should do. Is this using? This is using ambiguous TypeScript imports from node path. Hang on. Are they using? Yeah. All right. This is a common JS project, so the name will have all as path, and we'll do a path.resolve. What's next to the name? It's going to be .env. Okay. And this is just something we're going to do, import /env. See how that goes. Oh, sorry, you didn't get to see any of that. Right, yeah. So that is the code. We've made a file env.ts, which just calls this process load env file from over here. And we're going to import that as the very first line in our forge config. Let's see how that goes. Off screen, sorry. Righty, go. It says it can't find module. /env, that's strange. Hold on. Is their name broken or something? It's not liking that. Maybe because it's. I can't understand whether this is an actual. I think it's a common JS project. All right, conda.log. Under name is going to be this. I'll just see what that prints out. Do that without debugger. Gonna see my console log? Oh, right. I see. Okay, because this is. Hang on. This would count as a module, but maybe. Okay. Module.export equals that. Is that how you go about it? No, right. I was just missing that. Okay, so don't need that. That should work, I think. And file path. That. Yeah, we can inspect that. Okay, that should all be working now. Debug console. How's our processed env looking? That still did not source my envars. What is it? What is the issue? really thought this would tend to run before everything else, so I don't know why that's... What I'm finding is my breakpoints here just do not hit at all, and it always reaches notarized maybe first, so fine. What if I really shouldn't have to do it in this order, but what if I do an export function source in vars? Okay. Right. Name it off screen again. Okay. Right, this time that did the trick. I see a bunch of envars coming through now. So let's kill the terminal, stop debugger, put that code into practice. Okay. Right, please work. Do it without debug. Hey, now we go back to our, our logo. I mean, what if the React Native logo was behind the violin and we made it bigger? Free transform. What if it's like about 700%? 700%. How would that look? It's so bad. This is strictly a downgrade from the original. But what if I put a difference exclusion? Subtract, divide, mix. Trying to take these with an open mind, but they are just terrible. That's at least unharmonious. Is this really the direction we're going? It's a fiddle. It's a React. And then the original logo was very like circular. Can I do some kind of backdrop, like a how to glow? No, I need it to be like a circle. What can we do here? Unfortunately, it follows around logo. Well, let's make it capacious. How to glow? We shall spread size. Oh yeah, and the color is going to be this is dreadful. This is just dreadful. strictly worse. No, no. The afterglow is not saving it. But how does that look as an app icon? So let's PNG it. That's exactly what we're looking for. And take some sacrificial app that we have. So might undo. Yes, okay. React Native Fiddle sample. We are just gonna transplant that icon into there. Ooh. Ooh. That's not so bad. Hey. I don't know why, but I kind of don't hate that. It's nifty. Okay. But if we did do it so this was just strictly behind, then maybe this like influences it. If this were on top, well, it's kind of like the same options. A little bit of multiply. No, that's not helping at all. Some kind of glowy, kind of blue glow. Can I pick that color? Yes, I can. All right, sweet. Just dreadful. Oh, the noise is kind of fun. It's looking a little less unharmonious. But why is it glowing blue? It's a violin. It should be, if it's emitting any sort of color, it should be emitting its own color. Hey! That's one way to do it. So this versus that. That's looking better. Okay. All right. Export as pung. That's but I really don't want that on my app switcher. I don't want dissolve. I think we're not going to go with dissolve. Right. Right. No. Double click. Outer glow. You no longer dissolve. None of that. Okay. Do you need to be screen? Can you just be normal? That is better. Right. Export as ping. So I think I want it softer, more gradual. Spread. Which way around? So lots of. Hang on. Size less, but spread. No, hang on. Yeah, more of that. No spread. Okay. What as a ping? How does that look? That's the one I have hated the least so far. Okay, so let's edit our sample, drag that in. All right. It's not good. It's not good by any measure, but it's also not completely unusable. So, it's macOS that's going to be making use of the ping, and then the SVG will. I'm not quite sure which platform uses that. Okay, no. But I don't really want to touch it if it's just in the middle of finalizing the package. I can start dragging it in advance though. Have fiddle new open. And then there is an Apple icons file that we might need to reproduce. Okay, fine. Let's go into preview. No, what? Okay, yeah. And see the thumbnails. Okay. What we're going to do. What size is this thing? This is nice. Okay. Will this work? No. Has this got like a manifest or something? Don't quite know how we're going to generate that. Generate icons file from print. Have we got icon util pre-installed? Which icon? Oh, yes, we do. Okay. Icons, and we shall take the into there and give it a standard name of icon underline 515x 512 at 2 times the PNG. So that's what it is. We shall point icon util at that and see if that does what we want it to. But then that makes an icon set. I don't want an icon set. Okay, cd into icons. Why are you invalid? Dang, that worked. Oh, sweet. All right. Well, we made our icons. Okay, cool. So once this build is done, we can switch over the icon. Taking its time. Boom. So while we're waiting, we should add the licenses for these. Right, so we shall have the license for the FX emoji. Text, please. Okay. The fiddle in the violin in the native fiddle app icon comes from is adapted from the FX emoji violin icon, which is licensed the changes. The violin was superimposed on the React Native logo. And a glow effect is applied at the outside. Okay. There you go. We've given a credit. We provide a link to the license. Oh, a link to the license would do. License. Okay. Asset itself. Okay, we've got that. Then we'll do a license. Put this in British English, why not? License. React Native logo to txt. Bum, bum, bum. Facebook/React Native. I assume I just take this license. I don't know. It sort of depends if the yes. Where would the license for the actual React Native logo be? I guess Facebook have a docs site repo. Okay, docs. Nope. Right, let's pretend like we are editing one of these. Okay. React Native website, that is the repo. So license. I'm just going to use that. Copy raw file. The React Native logo used inside the React Native Fiddle logo is sourced from the website. Used the following license. Right, it's my best effort to comply with license terms, and it's still packaging. That's ridiculous. Taking absolutely ages. something we can move the forge config. I don't really want to touch the forge config right now though, because it will say like a change was detected. It might get a little bit nerve-wracking. Come on. So anyone just joining the stream, we are in the middle of a very long build. So I'm reading up on monetary policy. Basically saying a lack of confidence in the equities market due to the potential AI bubble. It sounds like a lot of gross debt to GDP. Come on, package. Yes, sounds like what I want. Wonder why finalization takes so long. Like, what actually is a really expensive part of this build process? Got your signing, but we haven't even reached that yet. What is the main config doing? Nothing crazy in here. Render it. Oh, Monaco. Okay. But we already built Webpack bundles. It only took a minute, so let us look into the Electron Forge. Finalize package frame. Okay. That's all right. So you're going to child trace, finalize package. Cool. Well, this is taking far too long. I think I'm just going to stop the stream here because this is not great spectator sport. And I shall tweet with the results of it once we have seen this thing actually package. Yep. Who knows? Maybe we'll make it past this point, and my forced notarization will work, and we'll get a lovely notarized app with completely the wrong app icon. But yeah, for now, it's just I would rather be doing a lot of stuff in the background. So yeah, I'm gonna stop streaming. Thanks for coming along. See you next time.